Good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the Pharr International Bridge Board Meeting for Thursday, December the 20th, 2018. The time is 12 p.m. And we're going to go ahead and start with a roll call. Here. Here.
Here. Here.
Present.
Director of Operations, Fred Berwin.
Present.
Finance Director, Carmen Moya. Present.
We need a motion to excuse Larry Hernandez.
Motion to excuse Larry Hernandez.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gutierrez, second by Mr. Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Luis Bazan. Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather for this meeting today. As we move forward with our plans, we know that we can't achieve our goals without your guidance. We ask you to lead us in the right direction so that our community benefits from our decisions. It is through your eyes that we see ahead. It is by your hands that we'll find the way. Amen.
We're going to go ahead and go to item 2, which is the consent agenda. And we only have the approval of the minutes for November the 16th, 2018. We need a motion.
Motion.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Palacios, second by Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll go to item 3, which is the Director's Administrative Report. And we'll start with A, Crossing and Revenue Report for November 2018.
Good afternoon, board members. For the record, Fred Brown, Director of Operations for the Pharr Bridge. I'd like to present the crossings and revenues for the month of November, fiscal year 2018-2019. On page number 3, we have the car crossings. For the month of November, we crossed a total of 64,409 cars, which represents an increase of 4,864 cars, which show an increase of 8.17% for the month of November. Also like to present the other crossings from other ports of entry on cars. We have Gateway, a loss of 8,730, 8% decrease. Veteran Los Tomates, a decrease of 7,157, 6%. Free Trade Los Indios, an increase of 641, 2% increase. The combinations of all 3 bridges, they show a loss of 15,246 cars, which represents a decrease of 6%. Eagle Pass, they show an increase of 29,778 cars, which represents an increase of 14%. Laredo Bridge, an increase of 3,900 cars, 1% increase. McAllen Hidalgo, an increase of 3,697, 2% increase. And Salduas Bridge, an increase of 17,220, 28% increase. The combination of both bridges, an increase of 20,917 cars, which represents an increase of 7%. The Progreso Bridge show an increase of 2,555, an increase of 5.83%. Donna Bridge show an increase of 1,145, an increase of 2.43% in cars. The Pharr Bridge, again, show an increase of 4,864, an increase of 8.17% for the month of November. On page number 4, we have the truck crossings for the month of November. Again, these are trucks that are going from the U.S. to Mexico. Total crossing for the month of November, we crossed a total of 50,355 trucks, which show an increase of 749 trucks, which represents an increase of 1.51% for the month of November. Also, I'd like to present the crossings from other ports of entry on trucks. We have Veteran Los Tomates, an increase of 2,475, 13% increase. Free Trade Los Indios, 284 trucks, 19% increase. A combination of both bridges, 2,759, 14% increase for the month of November. Eagle Pass show an increase of 532 trucks, 4% increase. Laredo Bridge, 10,778 trucks, which represents an increase of 6%. The Pharr Bridge, 749, 2% increase. Progreso Bridge, 774, 20% increase. And the Ensalduas Bridge, an increase of 422 trucks, an increase of 26% for the month of November. On page number 5, we have the northbound truck crossings. These are trucks that are coming from Mexico to the U.S. For the month of November, we crossed a total of 54,278 trucks, which represents an increase of 1,692, or a 3.22% increase. I'd like to state that the agriculture trucks at the Pharr Reynosa International Bridge total 14,738 trucks or crossings for the month of November, representing a 27% of all the imports from Mexico to the U.S. Also like to state that the agriculture trucks at the Pharr Reynosa International Bridge show an increase of 1,692 trucks, or 3.22% over the same month for fiscal year 2017-2018. This is for agriculture trucks only. On page number 6, we have the revenues. Total revenues collected for the month of November, we collected a total of $1,229,321, which show an increase of $70,629, or a 6.10% increase for the month of November. Overall, for the month of October, November, we collected a total of $2,447,390, which represents an increase of $137,484, or a 5.95% increase in revenues. I'd like to state also that for the first month ever, I have seen an increase in revenues on trucks, that we surpassed the $1 million revenues collected on trucks. I've been working on this report for the past 15 years, and I have never seen an increase in revenues only on trucks. So for this month ever, we surpassed the $1 million revenue collected only on trucks. It's a very good month for the
Congratulations. Do you know what this is attributed to?
But definitely the increase that we have seen month to month, year to year, definitely it's one of the biggest months on perishables. Definitely we'll see the biggest month will be in March, but the increase is there. Definitely the thanks to the for the approval of y'all approving for us to allowing us to promote the bridge in Mexico and the U.S. as well. That's one of the reasons why we have increase in trucks on a month to month, year to year, 3% overall year to year. That
So
concludes
just
my
to
report.
make it clear, we've hit the mark of $1 million, a few years ago, but it was a combination between passenger cars and heavy
Cars, exactly.
commercial
It was a
vehicles.
combination of both cars and trucks. Now, we have seen for the first time that an increase only surpassed the $1 million only on trucks.
And it was also, we had a big jump on car crossings.
That's what I
Exactly.
just
yes.
noticed.
I don't know if you attribute that also to, to the easier access to the aduana to get across, with a
Definitely.
remodel.
Yeah, the construction was ended on October. We have a better flow of traffic going back from Mexico to the U.S. and U.S.-Mexico. Definitely, just to mention on the cars, we collected only $224,728. The rest of it pretty much was on trucks. So it was a very good month on crossings for trucks.
It's all the hard work that you guys do that's paying off.
And you all letting us promote the bridge in Mexico as well. All the events that you all approve, everything that we do together as a team, as a bridge board, the team there at the bridge, a combination of everything. It's the reason why we have exceeded and accomplished all these crossings and revenues. Thank you all for allowing us to promote our bridge in Mexico and also in the U.S. That concludes my report for the month of November.
Are there any
Thank you,
questions
Fred.
or comments?
No, sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. Go to item B, which is the finance report for November 2018.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrator, for the record, Luis Bazan, bridge director. We do have Carla Moya here, finance director for the city, in case there are any questions regarding the budget.
I have a couple of questions, Carla, because I was overseeing some of the reports that we had seen from previous months, and there were some conflicting numbers as far as what the actual operating budget is. seeing as it's December and the time, I think maybe we should talk about it at another time or whatever you would propose. But from what I had seen, there was some conflicting information there from actual operating budget versus what was actually spent and forecasted. Monies that were left over from 2018, how are we gonna kind of move them forward? There's a number of things. There's stack involved. There's a couple of things that are there. I don't want to hit you with any misinformation, but I think it's a number of things. It's worth sitting down because, you know, I didn't know about this information that Fred just shared, but forecasting into 2019, right? My biggest concern is how are we going to keep up with the trend, and how is the budget going to reflect with the trend of the growth, right? That would be the biggest concern as far as the current budget, what's forecasted. I know there's quite a bit of amendments that we had done for 2018. No? For 2018?
We're talking about, and again, we can sit down.
You meant last budget year, Carmen. 18, 19. I mean,
Yeah.
17, 18.
17, 18.
Yeah, we did have some amendments for 17, 18, but I guess what we're reporting right now is 18, 19. We're
Right.
still going through our audit from 17, 18. It's usually not done until February, March. So until then, we're still adjusting the numbers from last year. So that's why we cannot still officially set an amount to carry forward to this budget year.
Mm.
The auditors play a role here.
Got
And
it.
for this budget 18, 19, if you look at your expenditure report, we're actually exactly within the budget for revenues and expenses. As of December, as of November, we're supposed to be at a more or less, you know, at 60% budget. and
We're
that's-
20%.
That's where we're at right now.
Right.
So, but again, whatever concerns you have, I'm happy to sit down with you and at least to go over. But just to make clear that right now, revenues and expenses are actually within budget. So far, not that I'm aware, we're not overspent yet in any items.
Right. I have seen a balanced budget, and that I don't think I made myself clear. I think what's concern or what's kind of come up is the changes that have been made, the growth kind of for tomorrow, and I know you're going to be adjusting for 18, 19 as the months come. My question is, what is going to be the projected growth? So if we have if you're revenuing X amount of dollars, your operating budget is X amount, what are we going to forecast for 2019 as far as growth so we can?
This report, it already reflects the projections, and we did, if I'm not mistaken, a 4% increase projections, and it's reflected in that budget. In that expenditure report that you have attached in your agenda, that budget item is already projecting a 4% increase based on the statistics and forecasts and projections that we did for last year. So it's already there.
So
We
it's
can
a
always
4
amend it, yes.
It's a 4%.
Yes, it's a 4%. We can always amend it as we go, but we usually like to wait the first 6 months to see if it's going above that 4%. And if it is, we can come back and bring it to you and increase it. But as of right now, those projections include a 4% increase.
Got it. Okay.
Correct, and if I may just add to that, we did set up a 5-year forecast, because now the city's running a 5-year budget. We worked on this summer or leading into the summer of 2018, and we did estimate it at about 4% increase growth. If you look at our current numbers, once you start calculating into the future for the end of the year, we should be right around 3.5% to 4% growth just on trucks alone. We did forecast for a decrease in cars of about 3.5% to 4%. And fortunately for us, actually cars are on their way up for the first time in the last 2 years. But as far as what Carla was talking about, we are at about 20, almost 21% on the revenue side, and about 16, 17% of usage on the expenditure side. So we're running lean, but yes, I concur with Tony as far as sitting down and going over some adjustments and things of that nature. I think some line items that we had discussed previous to this budget year that we might want to make some changes here in the years ahead just to make us plan better, because there are things such as the stack program that allows us to pay the overtime. And as of recent, we found out that that funding is going to be limited or done away with in May. I think that the deadline is May of 2019, but there are possibilities to put that money towards kind of an incentive program or a agriculture inspection, what's the program called, for students? Internship program. So those are some of the things we're going to be looking at, but we do need to sit down, potentially have some type of a workshop with finance to discuss these matters going forward.
Yeah.
You have any more questions or comments? All right, we'll go to item C, which is the engineer's report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrator, for the record, I mean, we do have Omar Ansaldua here, city engineer. In case anybody has any questions on what's going on with our projects, a brief overview on what's going on with our projects. Not a lot has changed since the last time. You know, a lot of the things that we've been planning for, what we call the DAP 15, the DAP 16 projects, we just had a conference call this week. We are at 100% on the design for both. It looks like the DAA, or the Donations Acceptance Agreement, for the DAP 15 projects, which are the 2 commercial entry lanes and 2 commercial exit lanes. They're working on it. According to GSA, it's headed to national review. Once it gets past national review, it'll get the signature of the commissioners and whatnot, and then we can expect for that to go through that process. But we do have a letting date that was pushed to about May of 2019. That means that we probably won't start construction on those 2 projects maybe until June timeframe, correct?
Let me add just another project, bridge expansion. We're actually gonna start advertising for that project. We'll open up bids, January 24th is when we open up the bids for that bridge expansion of the facility there, the offices, conference room and all that. So we should be moving forward on that project.
Yeah, we can't wait. We need the expansion. We need the room.
And
so
the
continue
truck
to go.
staging area, I know we had that workshop yesterday. We're gonna continue collaborating with TxDOT on seeing if we can get more feedback from them, and obviously look at the different options that the bridge has recommended us to look at for the truck staging.
Something that was also brought up during this last conference call, we've added it to the mix, is unified cargo processing. As you know, we've been pushing for this for at least 2 years now. I know the trade, and you'll hear a little bit more about it in a bit through the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association. We had a really good, productive meeting with Congressman Vicente Gonzalez just a couple of days ago, and this was also a topic of discussion. What I can tell you about UCP currently is that they're still looking at it. What we did is we sent the scope of work. We had Omar and his team work on a scope of work. We took pictures of a booth that was donated by Mexico. Unfortunately, as of yesterday's phone call, the booth does not meet the GSA's minimum requirements. So what we're looking at right now is potentially having to put up a new booth. So the way this would work is there's a space on top of the entries or the primary booths inside the import lot. As you're approaching the import lot, and this booth would be a pre-primary booth with a window cut through it in order for Mexico and U.S. to communicate effectively and efficiently across both booths, because there will be Mexico and the U.S. working side by side under one roof. But again, there's still some work to be done. What GSA and CBP are working on right now is getting us specs, getting us those specific requirements, because even though GSA says that it does not meet the minimum requirements, there is no set of standards out there for such a booth for UCP, specifically for UCP. So luckily, we're working very closely with the folks at DAP, the Donations Acceptance Program, which again is a CBP program at the national level. And as of this morning, I received an email indicating that they were going to collect some information, some data, and send it our way so that we know what to look for, because now our job is going to be to go out there and look for a private vendor, private entity that can sell us a booth. And so then we're going to have to find the monies for this. This is an additional expense, but it is something that's needed. We're working on it, but I just wanted to give a brief update on that because it did come up. It has been coming up. We hear about it in the trade community more than ever. It would make us more efficient, particularly now that you have, as Fred was talking about, peak season for produce is approaching February, March. So we want to ensure that the CT-PAT trucks, those that are certified non-produce trucks, do get across that bridge faster so that we can make room for the produce industry.
You have any questions or comments?
No, sir.
We're gonna go ahead and move to item D, which is the director's report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board, City Administrator. We do have a quick update here. Again, as I mentioned, we did meet with Congressman Vicente Gonzalez this week. The meeting was actually set up by the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association. This is an association that went dormant for a few years, then it picked up and got back up and running in 2016. They wanted to give you a brief presentation so that you can understand what it is that they do. Right now, they're having meetings, monthly meetings at the Bridge Conference Room. They've been very successful thus far, and they're going to talk about the benefits of their membership and how we're actually working side by side as trade partners. So we have Crispin Flores, who is currently the association president. We also have Philip Garcia here with Philip Garcia Customs Brokers, and he is the produce expert on the board. So at this time, I'd like to call on Crispin Flores to give you a presentation about the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association.
Thank you, Luis. Good afternoon. My name is Crispin Flores. I own and operate C&J Logistical Services. I currently preside as president of the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association. And today we are here to officially present ourselves to the board, the Pharr Bridge Board, and be known that we are working with the Pharr Bridge and with other entities here in town to be able to make the bridge a little bit more efficient, more effective, more attractive to the community. The current presiding officers for the association are Adrian Gonzalez with Daniel B. Hastings as vice president of the Maquiladora sector, Philip Garcia, who is here with me. He is with Philip Garcia, CHB, and he is vice president of the produce sector, and Antonio Rivera with Parker & Company as our treasurer. The mission of our association is to provide support for the import-export community in the Mid-Valley area. We assist our members and businesses in the community by effectively communicating with our local, state, and federal governmental agencies to resolve issues affecting the mechanics and policies of international trades at the port of Pharr, Progreso, and Rio Grande. Our members are able to benefit from our association by networking with professionals in the import-export community, training and professional development opportunities, have full voting rights and participating committees, access to knowledge and experience of other members, listing in the members directory, and access to the National Customs Brokers Forwarders Association membership. Who is the face of the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association, you might ask? Our members come with a wide range of experience and knowledge. Some of our members have been operating for a couple years. Other members have been operating since the mid-1940s. The experience and knowledge vary from each member, but all are committed to providing the best service possible and abide by the rules and regulations that govern us. We currently have 19 licensed entities in the association. We have 2 associate members, one of which is Pharr Bridge. All members have agreed to abide by the Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association Code of Ethics and Bylaws. Our membership is growing. A couple of days ago when we had our meeting with Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, we had 2 new members come in for that day, and we have 2 other members that will be coming in at the beginning of the year. Our current members, you can see a list of the current members. Ace Customs Brokers, Aquiles, Inc., Bustamante Brokers, C&J Logistical Services, Daniel B. Hastings, Davidson Law Group, Expeditors, Interlink Trade Services, International Conveyance Texas, Joe Arevalo Associates, Loera Customs Brokerage, Maria Sotelo, Mendiola Customs Brokerage, Parker & Company, Pharr International Bridge, Philip Garcia, CHB, Rosary and Cowan Logistical Services, Rosary Customs, Santos International, the Texas International Produce Association, and United Brokers. I would briefly go over some key points on the changes that are proposed under the USMCA agreement. One of the rules that will be affecting the automotive industry is that the regional value content that is required, that will be required if this agreement is signed, will be 75%. That went up from 62.5% under the previous NAFTA agreement, which will mean that a lot of the things will be a little bit more expensive because they will be produced in this area. A lot of it has to be produced in a country where it pays $16 or more per hour, which obviously means that they're looking at the U.S. and Canada to provide those parts and supplies to the Mexican facilities. 40 to 45% of the automobile parts have to be made by workers who earn at least $16 an hour by 2023. Okay, and I'm looking at that as the government wants to attract more business here to the United States and to Canada, but mainly the United States. Section 232 tariffs are tariffs that were imposed on China and basically the rest of the country on products that are of steel and aluminum. Those, we thought that with the new agreement that they would be done away with, but unfortunately they were not. Mexico and Canada are still part of that list that has to pay either 25% or a 10%, depending if it's steel or if it's aluminum. Textile apparel, there's also a big change in that area, in that industry. In the past, when a garment was to be considered to be originating, means it qualifies for NAFTA privileges, they would only take the components that made the garment into consideration. With this news agreement, now they're going to be taking all of the components that make up the garment. Thread, buttons, elastic, everything will be included in there. One of the good things about this is the sunset clause. It's up for a 16-year renewal. Okay, but in between that 16 years, there is also a 6-year period where they can come back and they can make adjustments if needed to it. The agreement is signed, but it is not approved yet. Obviously, it has to go through all three Congresses in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So Congressman Vicente Gonzalez feels very optimistic that this will pass the U.S. Congress and they will get approved. We want to thank the bridge for your support. They've allowed us to use the conference room for our meetings with Customs, and it's something that has been very productive. Any questions?
No, sir. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. It's impressive.
Well, I just want to say thank you for supporting us. I know we've, for a while we've been looking for somebody to take over, this association and help us in our meetings and stuff like that. So we're glad you guys are on board, and we're on board with you all to to work on this. A lot of topics you mentioned there are going to affect the way we do business, and one of them that's very interesting to me is the automotive part. I think it gives the Valley a great opportunity to grow in manufacturing because we're the closest, and not just the Valley, but any city close to the border. It gives us the perfect location to manufacture and reduce the cost of logistics to send back to Mexico and meet the standards of the new agreement a lot quicker than some other regions might be able to do it.
Yes, sir. That is the exact sentiment that Congressman Vicente Gonzalez mentioned on Tuesday when we met with him. He thinks it's a very good opportunity for growth in this area.
It is. We appreciate you coming in, and we're here for anything we can help with.
All right. Anything that you need from us, please let us know.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I have a question, and
Yes, sir.
maybe Philip can chime in. Are you guys members of BTA?
I'm sorry, with what?
BTA, Border Trade Alliance?
No, we're not.
One of the things that we're working on with STAC, and maybe we can discuss offline, is with funds ending with STAC, and I don't know, we've tried to reach out to the congressman, but there's other ways, kind of like Philip, the way the avocado guys with Mejia, the way they collect their dues from their membership, right? Initially, when we started STAC, when we discussed with the board, we didn't see STAC as, it was a pilot. STAC is a program that's funded by TDA, but the city of Pharr has been the only bridge that has allocated money for that program. It's been proven to work. So, but now it's up for expiration May of 2019. So the idea we've kind of kicked around is how do we get the trade to buy into that program, similar to the custom brokers collecting dues from the National Mango Board for avocados from Mexico, Mejia. Once that load crosses, to avoid the congestion of collecting fees from truckers, the admin piece to collect it from the back end, and that's where maybe we can get your input in the future. It doesn't have to be now. I want to put you guys on the spot, but that's something definitely, Luis, that we can look at. Again, Stack was never looked at as a revenue stream, and I don't think that was a plan initially. It was just more to kind of streamline the information. The city put up the money to see if this would impulse the market, and we just broke $1 million revenue just on commercial traffic, right? So it's been proven to work. So again, that was something that when we started, we first allocated money, what was it, August of 2016? 2016. So, maybe we can get your insight on something like that, how it could be streamlined and kept efficient so we can put it to use.
No, definitely. Like I said, some of our members are recent members. Some of the members have been in operations for many years, so they have the knowledge and experience to go back to them. As an association, we can try to help and come up with an idea to help you recoup that.
And just to kind of break it down, a little bit easier in simpler terms, to avoid the paperwork, you guys, the custom brokers, you guys are already invoicing the importers, right?
Correct.
So it would be an additional fee, board, just so that we're all on the same page on what this is doing. But when somebody crosses a load of mangoes or a load of avocados, the invoice comes from their companies, right? Then they turn around and they pay the associations where that money is allocated to go, depending on what bucket. So, am I correct? That's how you. I mean, I'm an importer. That's how I do it.
Yeah, it's a duty that customs we have to charge the importer.
Right.
And then they pay us, and then we have to pay U.S. Customs.
Right.
And then they distribute that monies.
Right.
And it's mainly for watermelons, mangoes, avocados, and that's for promotion board.
Right.
And I guess you would want to do some kind of like a port fee or something?
It's something that will have to tie in with Stack and what's in place right now, because if Stack expires and we're trying to push it and we're trying to lobby for it, what's going to happen? It's going to cause congestion again, and we're just trying to be proactive to try and get ahead of the game to avoid this, because now the trade's seen that the city of Pharr has been paying into Stack, and we have been paying basically for everybody's overtime.
Yeah, and that's really
Right.
helped out. Awesome.
It's helped out huge, and the numbers will show it, right? So how do we keep it going to where we can keep it streamlined and keep it efficient? Because once it hits the trade's pocket, there's going to be some resistance. We saw that with the overweight scale. We saw that there was some resistance, but again, the numbers show that maybe now people are starting to buy into it, so there's definitely it's something that we haven't really discussed much here, but I think it's something that we need to look at with a little bit more. It's got to be a priority come January, because time is running out.
We have to discuss how we can do that, if we can do that.
It's something that we would need a little bit more details on it and how it's actually working. But we'll look into it. I mean, maybe the boards can sit together and discuss the operation. We'll sit down with Lisa and the staff.
Sure.
See how we can take care of that. Always willing to help. I mean, I know that people are hesitant about change, but if change is for the good, I mean, we'll be more than glad to help.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just like with them, we do have strong partnerships with other associations. I think as we go into 2019, I'd like to start bringing them to these board meetings, maybe not once a month, but maybe every other month. We are members with many different associations. Our job, doesn't sit at the bridge. It's not just us doing the work. It's all encompassing, because it is for trade. It is for a more efficient crossing, and we all do this together. So with your permission, I'd like to start working on bringing these associations to the board. One thing that I did want to mention real quick, and I know Omar brought it up, and I know Mr. Wiley was there yesterday, and so was Edgar, was the truck parking issue. TxDOT has been hosting a series of workshops, joint workshops across the state. Yesterday they had a few of them here in the Valley, one in Brownsville and one here in Pharr at 2 p.m. Unfortunately, the trade was not out there. I think there was only a couple of people from the trade, from the private sector. What I discussed with TxDOT personnel afterward was that we would like to incorporate as they continue moving forward with these workshops and continue to gather information. We do need, your CEOs, we do need your crossers, your end users to participate in these meetings, because at the end of the day, they are going to be the ones using these truck parking areas. So there's a lot more to it than what we initially thought of as just paving some ground and allowing trucks to go in there and park. There's just a lot more to it than we anticipated. So what I proposed was that through our Bridge Connect platform, we start having some focus groups and bringing in the end users to also chime in on the needs for these truck parkings. Fortunately for us, if we were to build this first truck parking, it would probably be the first one in the state, maybe even in the nation, at the size that we want to build it. But there's more on that to come. We're not there yet, but going forward, that's something that I propose to TxDOT and hoping to take advantage of here in the near future.
Just to add to that real quickly, and now that they're, the Mid-Valley Association is here for the custom brokers, I think it's important that we eventually come up with a cluster of the custom brokers, because sometimes getting too many people in one room from the industry, and it becomes just pointing fingers and complaining instead of sometimes moving forward. So sometimes when you concentrate it in an association where they are representing the industry itself, and then the trucking side or the warehousing, I think it would just roll a lot easier, than getting 200 people in there, all complaining about the same parking spot all the time. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And along the same lines, I am on the board for the Border Trade Advisory Committee at the state level. And I was in Austin last week, and one of the things that's back on the map is the Texas-Mexico border, transportation border master plan. So with that, this was something that was started years ago, and it just kind of, again, went dormant. Just like many other things have gone dormant, it's back up. They've established different groups. We have a schedule now for 2019 to start meeting at the binational level. One of the things that I did suggest to them is precisely that we do need to be, because when you look at the list of the folks that participated in the past, maybe that's why it never went anywhere, because you didn't have the end users, because you didn't have the company owners and operators on that committee or on these smaller focus groups talking about the real challenges, the real needs for infrastructure improvements, not just in parking lots, but also, roadways, leading in and out of border crossings, for example, leading in and out of seaports, leading in and out of airports. So that's something that I suggested. I actually included Mid-Valley Customs Brokers on there. I also included Canacar, I included CAREM, I included AAA Reynosa, which is Agentes Aduanales de Reynosa. I added a bunch of groups to that, and I've already sent the list to the folks, the HDR, which is the consulting group that's in charge of putting together the plans. So again, we're going to start meeting as we go, as we move closer to the dates. I'll keep you updated because it will come. There will come a time where we do need to take a team up there to Austin to give a full-blown explanation and a full-blown presentation of what's going on here in Pharr and the importance of this border crossing for the nation and for international trade as a whole.
All right. Do you have any more questions or comments? No. Guess we'll go to item 4, which is the administrative report, and we have item A, discussion and proposal from CAPUFE to develop a traffic study to remove barriers on the Mexican side of the bridge. We are going to go to executive session on this item. And in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 2.087, the Pharr International Bridge Board hereby gives notice that it will now meet in a closed executive session to discuss the items listed on the public portion of the meeting of the agenda. The time now is 12:39 p.m. Session. And on item 4, we have no action. And we do need a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Palacio, second by Mr. Gutierrez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Christmas to all the board
Thank you for all the
members,
support, and we'll
everybody
see you soon.
present. Freddie, that includes you.
Thank you.